Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim, the Humble Hermit from Come As You Are Oracle. I am going to do a tarot collective for today. Today is Thursday, February 26, 2026. You may follow me on the Talk, the Tube, my blog, or not. Totally up to you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it doesn't fit, don't make it fit. If some of it fits, God's kiss. We love that for you. Whatever doesn't, leave it on the table for someone else. You don't need to take on energy that wasn't meant for you. We're going to use the Everyday Apocalypse Tarot by Hattie Thorne. You can find this at hattiethorne.com. You can find this in her Etsy shop. We got 2 on the table. 4 on the table? I can't see them. I can't see them. Oh, geez. Okay. 4 on the table, 2 major. No reverse. We're going to do 2 more shuffles. Last shuffle. Okay, this is interesting. We got 5 on the table, 2 major, no reverse. Oh, wow. All right. I'm going to set that on the box. We got 5 with bottom of the deck. We've got the 8 of Pentacles. We've got King of Pentacles. The Fool. The Devil. And bottom of the deck is 5 of Pentacles. I'm just going to say this. I think this is a money situation. I think this is someone's personal energy. I think this is a money situation. Feminine, masculine, take how it resonates. It does not matter. I think somebody has issues with money. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Because there's a lot of pentacles here. And it's not necessarily all good with the 8 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles. Because even the 8 of Pentacles, there's a little sign on there that says low battery. And when you look at the 5 of Pentacles, it's like out of funds. And even this King of Pentacles, it's like... It's like somebody wants to be in this energy. Someone tries to be in this energy. But with the Fool and the Devil, it's like somebody has so much... Somebody has so much potential. Like somebody knows how to pull themselves out of debt. Somebody knows how to move their money around and make things work better for them. But with the Devil card, it's like somebody continuously making bad choices. Like spending money you don't have. And I'm not talking like, here's the thing. I'm not talking like, how do I say this? This would be like, and this is just an example, but like, let's say somebody makes $500 a week, right? There's 4 weeks in a month. It's $2,000 a month. Let's say after all the rent, their bills, whatever, and groceries, they literally only have like $125 a month for spending money. This would be like somebody knowing that they only have $125 a month for like fun money, right? Like if I want to go out and eat, if I want to buy something, whatever. If I want to go see a movie, whatever the case. $125 spending money a month. But this person spends like $400 every month. And they just rack it up on the credit card over and over and over. That would be $275 more a month. And if you times that times 5 or times 12, right, for a whole year, you're looking at what? Probably almost $3,000. So just under $3,000, something like that, a year in debt for what? And the thing is nowadays most people don't have jobs where like they can work overtime, they can take an extra income. A lot of companies don't even really give great raises anymore. So like how would you make that up? If you were able to do overtime, if you knew you were going to get like a 50-cent, 75-cent dollar raise every year, which I know some people are probably watching my video and laughing, but y'all, that's actually 50, 75, a dollar is actually probably considered a good raise. How sad is that? I think my last raise last year I think was like $1.30, $1.50, somewhere in there. And that was the best raise I've had in a few years. And the company that I work for, technically, they still need to do a cost of living because they have not done a cost of living increase, I think, in maybe like 3 or 4 years. But the thing is, and I've told you guys this before, like right now we're kind of going through a slump. So I didn't work last Sunday. I didn't do overtime last Sunday, and I probably won't be this Sunday. But hopefully the next Sunday, maybe we'll be a little bit busier and maybe, we'll kind of get back to the norm. The norm. How sad is it to say that? Because nobody should ever have to work overtime to support themselves, honestly. It's hard enough working 40 hours a week and then trying to live your life. I'm just of the firm belief that we were never supposed to live like that. I don't believe that. I don't believe we were supposed to be like 9 to 5 people paying the government everything that we have, and you know what I mean? Not even be able to buy a pack of yogurt for the week, It's ridiculous. Anyway, anywho, I've told you guys before, like I'm lucky enough to work at a job where I actually make a pretty decent wage, and I'm able to do overtime a lot of the times, especially like our new quarter will start in April. We'll probably be busy. We'll probably do automatic mandatory overtime for 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. um And usually when I take in the overtime and we do have mandatory overtime, like that's extra money for me. I can pay off debt if I have debt. I can afford to feed my cats better. I can afford to feed myself better. I can afford to buy a new deck of cards if I want a new deck of cards. And it's not to say that I can't do that normally because again, I make a pretty decent wage, just straight money, even after taxes and my insurance and my 401k and all that, I still bring home a nice little chunk. And my bills typically aren't really that bad for someone being single and, living on their own and making their own way. But typically I could still buy and, treat myself every month to, something. But a lot of people can't. A lot of people right now are struggling. And that's very much what this kind of gives, honestly, is like, and I'm not going to lie, it almost gives like somebody that used to be fine with money and then all of a sudden, like, they're not. So, like, maybe somebody leaving a job and taking another job, but they had to take a pay cut. So now, they have to adjust to the fact that they don't make as much money, but they're not getting it. It kind of gives that kind of vibe. Like somebody used to have money, but now they don't. And they're making these bad choices. They're spending money where they shouldn't be spending money. But the thing is, if you used to have money and it hasn't quite registered, you probably would still be spending as if, you still had the money, right? I mean, sometimes it takes people a little longer to adjust to things. And even if that's not the case, this is really just somebody like, just like living beyond their means. And again, especially here in America, in the US, like there are so many people that I'm sure there are so many people living like that. I mean, how many people last year filed for bankruptcy because like they put everything on their credit cards and they couldn't afford anything. I remember I was watching a TikTok, um I think it was like last November, and she's a fairly decent sized creator. I wouldn't like, she's not like top of the line, she's not like, you know 10 million followers or anything like that, but she's up there, and she was talking last year about how, she was worried because the economy wasn't getting better and she was putting stuff on credit. Like, she wanted to be able to, she's a single mom with, I think, a little girl. And, she wanted to be able to feed her daughter more nutritious foods and things like that. And she couldn't necessarily afford it. She pays her own mortgage or rent and pays her own bills and maybe has a car payment. I don't know, and has to pay to take care of the kid. And she's like, I'm putting stuff on credit cards. And she's like, it's ridiculous because in the past, I wouldn't have had to do that. And I also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, wherever she works, like her 9 to 5 job, because she has a 9 to 5 job, believe it or not, I think she said she had to take a pay cut in order to keep her job, which I'm sure a lot of companies have done over the last couple of years. Like, oh, you want to keep your job, then, you're going to have to make $15 instead of 20, oh, you want to, if you want to keep your job, you're going to have to take a salary of 50,000 instead of 75. Like, we can't afford to keep the company going if you don't take a pay cut, even though, all the members of the board are making millions of dollars. It always never seems to make sense. But yeah, she was talking about how, she found herself in debt. Whereas in the past, like she's not really that type of person to be like that. And the sad thing is, like I just said, like there's so many people out there that just can't afford to make it, like they're struggling. And, people are always like, well, how did you end up living in your car? How do you think? How do you think? If you work at a job where you make a semi-decent wage, but you haven't had a raise in 3 years, and the cost of living has gone up 5% every year, rent is astronomical. Like in this area where I live, a 1 bedroom, 1 bath is more than what I pay in my mortgage every month. And I have a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Yeah, exactly. Like people can't afford it. And then there's people that can't afford it, so they, rent a room from somebody, or they rent a room in a house with a bunch of roommates, and they split the costs and da-da-da-da-da. There's people that are doing that can't afford it, you know? It's sad. It's sad. It's scary and it's sad. Anyway, I kind of digress. I mean, I didn't digress, but I did. Whoever this is, they have the potential to like right themselves, get back on track. The thing is whoever this is, like they're always tempted. They're always tempted. I know how you feel. Hello? Are you related to me? Why am I went out to dinner with my dad and my brother last Saturday, and we went to a little local place. They have a few different locations in the area, but we went to a place called Sammy's, and they do like burgers, hot dogs, gyros, fries, onion rings, stuff like that, salads, and hot dogs. Why? Tell me why. Tell me why I'm looking at this and I'm picturing a Chicago dog. If you guys don't know what a Chicago dog is, it's a steamed hot dog in a steamed bun. Typically, it has onion, relish, mustard. What is it? What is it? What is it called? Celery salt, I think. It's usually sport peppers, like a little hot sport pepper, and a pickle. No ketchup. We do not put ketchup on our hot dogs. Do not comment on my video and say I love ketchup on my hot dog. I will block you. No, I'm just kidding. I won't. I've had ketchup on my hot dogs. It wasn't until I was probably in my early to mid 20s when I realized that there was like this long-standing tradition of not, if you're a Chicagoan, you don't put ketchup on your hot dog. The thing is except for when I was a kid and except for as an adult occasionally going through a ketchup phase, I don't usually eat ketchup. I don't usually like ketchup. Every once in a while I'll get like a craving for it and I'll make some frozen french fries and I'll eat ketchup with them, but I usually don't. And even like when I order burgers and stuff, sometimes I even tell them don't put ketchup on there because I'm not a fan. The ex-husband, however, used to love ketchup, still loves ketchup. He would probably go through like a giant bottle like in a month. He loved ketchup. Why do I keep saying it like past tense? He still loves ketchup. I don't think he eats as much of it though as he used to because of the sugar. And I don't think he likes the sugar-free one. Anyway, I was picturing a Chicago hot dog looking at the... Maybe somebody needs to come to Chicago and have a Chicago dog. I have a little ritual when I eat my Chicago dog. I eat the pickle first. Well, actually, that's not true. I usually eat the two. There's usually 2 or 3 little peppers on there. I eat those first. And then I eat the pickle. And then I eat the hot dog with everything else on it. It's just my thing. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure a million other people do the same thing. There's also a place in the Chicagoland area, like the northern suburbs too, called Superdog. And they've been in business a long time. They actually take the Chicago dog and put fries on it and wrap it up and put it like in a little box. And when you get your little box, you open it up and you peel off the paper and you got fries in there. You got your hot dog in there. Bellissimo. Superdog. Portillo's. Have you guys ever had Portillo's? Ugh. I know there's one in Vegas, I think. I think there's one in Vegas. I think there used to be one in Arizona. I don't think it's there anymore. Or maybe it was Texas. I can't remember. But Portillo's, oh my God. If you guys ever come to the Chicagoland area and you want Portillo's, make sure you get a piece of chocolate cake and or get a chocolate cake shake. It is literally a shake with chocolate cake in it. And Portillo's makes literally the best chocolate cake ever, and they make it in a shake. When I tell you that that shake is probably like 2,000 calories, I am not kidding. But it is the best damn shake you will ever drink. Portillo's. I don't know why I was picturing the hot dog. Somebody might, I don't think somebody will seek out counseling, but somebody might have like a family member or a friend come towards them and be like, hey, Michael, Sharon, whoever you are, I think you have a spending problem. Or not even like saying it like that. Somebody coming forward and saying, hey, do you need help budgeting your money for the month? Do you need help figuring out your bills and all that? Because it almost gives like somebody seeing somebody struggle and then being like, hey, can we meet for coffee? I want to talk to you about something. It's a little sensitive. And then telling somebody, hey, I think you might need some help. Do you want me to help you? I can help you. Like, we'll do a spreadsheet. I'm good with numbers. And I know some people might be offended if a family member or a friend were to come forward and be like, hey, I think you spend too much money. I probably would initially be offended too, like I'd have that trigger moment. But I think in the end, I would also be pretty grateful and thankful that anybody would even take an interest in that. Because as it stands right now, I don't really have anybody in my life that would, and I don't mean it to sound so negative. I really don't think I have anybody in my life that would look at me and be like, oh, you're struggling? Oh, you need help? Let me help you. Let's talk it out. I literally don't think even my dad and my brother, I don't think they, they're not there. They don't get it. Like, I would probably have to go and ask somebody for help. Do you know what I mean? Pardon me. And one last thing before I let this go. This Fool card. I think a lot of people, right, have the potential to turn this type of situation around where it's not too crazy, too out of hand, right? Like, you're not too much in debt, whatever the case. Don't put things off until tomorrow. Like, keep on top of your bills. Look for a new job if you need to look for a new job, a better paying job. Look for a part-time job if you feel like you need a part-time job. If you need help, if you need guidance, and you have that friend that you know is good with numbers and good with money, ask for help. I feel like in this day and age, if anybody needs help, like, why wouldn't you ask for it? If you know you have people in the background that could be helpful and would probably help, then ask. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to be like, oh no, I don't have time. Okay, at least you asked. You know what I mean? At least you reached out for some help. Even if you could just say to somebody, hey, even if you can't like help me figure this out, can you at least like give me some tips on how you manage your money, like something like that. Because I feel like if somebody were more on top of things and like actually paying attention, like they won't get as bad with their finances as they could. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to get to like a Five of Pentacles situation. This reading could just be a warning for somebody. And I think I told you guys, like, I go through periods where I spend and where I save. And since the beginning of the year, I've been doing my best to try and not buy stuff unless I actually need it, like food and, stuff for the cats, stuff like that. I think I told you guys yesterday I bought the 2 decks from Rob Barthelman, but other than that, like I bought a few books on Amazon, I'm not going to lie, for having to do with the courses I took and some courses I want to take in the summer. But other than that, like I haven't been out there just like frivolously spending money on stupid stuff, I don't know. I think it's just better to kind of take a realistic look at your finances and see what you can do for yourself. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about you. It's your finances. It's your money. You need to make it work for you. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I hope it doesn't resonate, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you were entertained. I hope everybody has a lovely Thursday evening, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.